Hey friends, it's been a while. 2 years actually. Welcome back to Sexy Dad Jokes. Trying to fix America, one dumb joke at a time. Yeah, I know. Tall order, but somebody's got to try, right? Since we last talked, the world's gotten noisier, meaner. Every headline feels like a punchline written by a nihilist. And I've been sitting on the sidelines thinking, I just can't stay quiet anymore. So this is me picking the mic back up. The show has always been my baby, and this time I'm going to try to raise it right. Every day I scroll the news and feel like the ground is shifting under our feet. Institutions that were supposed to protect us are being gutted. Healthcare, education, the environment, even truth itself feels negotiable. And the part that scares me most, not the chaos, but how normal it's starting to feel. So yeah, I could spend Sundays screaming at the TV over my fantasy football team tanking. But honestly, it feels more productive to scream into this microphone. You know, we talk a lot about how things are broken in this country, and sometimes I feel that way too. Like the time I told my doctor I broke my arm in two places. He said, then stop going to those places. What a place we find ourselves in now, huh? If only fixing what's broken were that simple. All right, well, we're off to a healthy start here. Here's the thing I keep coming back to. We are being played by people who profit when we hate each other. When we're divided, we're distracted. And when we're distracted, we're controllable. Like Sun Tzu said in The Art of War, if he is united, divide him. That's not ancient wisdom anymore. It's the modern business model of politics. They throw us shiny outrage bait, immigrants, pronouns, gas stoves, whatever works this week, right? We take the bait, fight about it online, and meanwhile, the money quietly flows upward. I bought a thesaurus from a guy on the street. All the pages were blank. I have no words. Exactly how I feel reading Twitter, or X, or whatever they're calling it these days. But ask yourself, I don't care if you're wearing a red hat or a blue tie. Are you thriving? Does this chaos feel good? Or are you just surviving, barely, wondering why everything costs more while billionaires build rocket yachts? Because if you're exhausted, anxious, distrustful, that is not an accident. That's the design. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be this way. I truly believe in my heart and my soul, as Bob Marley himself sang, you can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. So what's really happening? There is no trans crisis. There is no immigration invasion. Those are fake news headlines engineered to keep us angry. The real crisis is loneliness. It's hopelessness. It's people who feel unseen, unvalued. and ready to believe anyone who says, I see you and it's their fault. What do you call a fish in a tuxedo? Sophisticated. Because even a fish wants to be seen. And maybe that's what most of us are doing. Dressing up our pain. Trying to look okay in a world that's forgotten how to notice each other. See, we can talk about heavy stuff and still flop around for laughs here. We're still sexy dad jokes. Now look, if you voted for Trump as a card-carrying member of the radical left, of the woke radical left mob, I want your family to thrive. If you wear a red hat, I still want you to have health care, good schools, clean water. You don't have to lose for me to win, to survive, and to thrive. When we isolate, we are easier to manipulate. When we connect, we become uncontrollable in the best possible way. You know, I want to end on something that surprised me. I'm going to invoke Charlie Kirk here, and not because I agree with him. Honestly, I don't on pretty much anything. But sometimes even people we oppose can hand us a truth worth keeping. Right before Charlie Kirk was killed, Kirk and Van Jones, the progressive commentator, they were locked in a Twitter war. And then Kirk did something unexpected and that we didn't even know about until after he was killed, when Van shared this on the air. Charlie sent Van a DM. And as Van shared later, Kirk's message was respectful and seemed to lean into nuance and the complexity of their debate. And he invited Van onto his show. And Kirk ended his message with this, what I see as a beautiful sentiment. Quote, let's disagree agreeably. That really hit me. Because if those two, a couple of the loudest voices from opposite corners of the American cage match here, could at least aspire to that, maybe we can too. Look, we're not going to see eye to eye on everything, but maybe that's not the goal. Maybe the goal is to stop assuming disagreement means disconnection. To remember that this experiment, this messy, hopeful thing called America, it only works if we're willing to stay in the room together, even when it's uncomfortable. We don't have to agree on every policy, but can we at least agree on this, that screaming at each other isn't working? That compassion isn't weakness. And that the real patriots aren't the ones picking fights. They're the ones willing to keep talking. What did the one light switch say to the other? You turn me on. Because sometimes it's that simple. We light each other up when we stop flipping out and start flipping on. So, America, let's disagree agreeably, and maybe we can start seeing each other again. So what do we do? Where do we take this? I mean, we need something new. Not left versus right. Truth versus manipulation. Not burn it all down, but let's rebuild together. Because none of this works without community, without each other, without compassion, without conversation. I used to play piano by ear. Now I use my hands. Because learning is progress, folks. So here's what I want this show, Sexy Dad Jokes, to be from now on. A place where we can talk like neighbors again, where humor keeps us human, where we practice disagreeing agreeably, and we'll throw in some dumb jokes as well. Some weeks it'll be me. Some weeks I'll bring in our old friends, Mers or Johnny Spaz or someone who thinks I'm completely nuts. And that's okay. That's the point. So if you're tired of panic culture, welcome. If you're ready to trade hot takes for honest talk, welcome. If you just came for the dad jokes, you're also welcome. We'll need that laughter for the rebuild. I actually started a memory club, but we kept forgetting to meet. Maybe next week we'll remember how to listen. I'm Ben. This is Sexy Dad Jokes. Words, not weapons. See you next time.